Welcome back to the table, everybody. I know you could see me. Welcome back to the table. Welcome back to the table, everybody. This week we're doing a meal that is inspired, if you will. We are doing a meal that I wanted to center around specific ingredients. And I wanted to do something that was seasonal. The produce in our area has just been so good. And you can just use it in multiple ways. You always can. So today, what we're going to be doing is making a entree, a dessert, and a drinky poo out of the same ingredients. And our whole theme is basil and lemons. Lemons and basil are really super in season for us right now. Lemons are a little more on the end side, but they're also just like a very classic combination. They're things that honestly I keep around a lot of the time, and I think it's just so good. They go well with so many things, and I thought they were a really good versatile combo for us to use today. Now, we are making, hang on, something's in my eye. Everything from scratch. We're going to be doing, here's the rundown, if you will, okay? We're doing basil lemon pasta. So what we're actually going to do is make raviolis. Now, I don't know if I don't think I've ever made homemade pasta on this channel before, but I love to make homemade pasta. We have a pasta sheeter. I think we have done it on here before, but I have a pasta sheeter that is cranky. She's a little saucy, if you will, but we love to break her out. We're going to put basil into the pasta sheets, and then we are going to stuff the raviolis with a basil lemon cheese mixture, and then we are going to obviously cook them, and then we're going to do just like a pre-made pesto sauce on those, because the amount of basil I would need to make all of this and make pesto would have taken a farmer. We would have supplied them with a year's salary. Maybe. Not really. Basil's pretty cheap. Anyways, we're doing pasta. Then for the dessert, we're doing a take on Emily Baz recipe. This is her grapefruit olive oil cake in her first book that she has out. I'm going to do a variation of this and make a lemon basil olive oil cake. I was just going to swap out just the grapefruit for lemon, but it also, I don't know, I think basil will be a nice earthy note to it. I think it won't be too overwhelming at all in this, especially how I plan to use it. You need to stick around and see that. And then I'm going to show a cocktail and mocktail variation of a drink that can go with this as well. It's also one of my favorite drinks for the summertime. I think y'all are sleeping on it. We're going to make Hugo Spritzes. And I'll show you the variation you can do without alcohol. But here's my thing. I am an Aperol Spritz girly through and through. I love them so deeply, but a Hugo Spritz hits harder. I'm going to say that right now publicly on this channel. It hits harder. It just does. It just does, and y'all are sleeping on it. That's all I'm saying. We do need to start our pasta now, because if you've ever made homemade pasta before, it does have to sit for about 2 hours. So we're going to start that now, and then while it does its thing in the fridge, we will make this cake. Fun, right? Let's do it. All right, let's get into it. You'll notice clean work surface, okay? We are going to start the easiest pasta dough recipe. I don't know how to make it any smaller. This is just the only way I've ever done it. 2 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. Love King Arthur's, but they stopped selling their regular flour at Costco in bulk, so this was a little side quest, if you will. But that's like pretty much the end of the bag. 2 cups of flour. It's like a Molly themed day. It's crazy. And then you make a little well, because we're going to do 3 whole eggs. And I know some people don't even worry about how messy this is about to be, because it's about to be very incredibly messy. Okay? 3 whole eggs. I know some people prefer to add in more egg yolks. I find that every time I do that, it makes them drier. Makes the pasta drier and a little more tough. So I like to keep the whites. That's just a personal preference. You'll find your groove with it. Now we're going to take a fork and we're going to slowly kind of zhuzh these together. Get the eggs nice and incorporated together. Now, a hot take on the way I make pasta. I honestly have no concept of how I learned how to make pasta, but here we are. This is just always how I've done it over the last couple years. And I do not like to put salt in it. I know a lot of people do. I don't, because I like to salt my filling, my sauce, and the pasta water. I just don't think it needs to be in the dough. Your salt will come in the water if you salt your water properly. That's my philosophy. You do you, Pooks. Now, I'm just slowly kind of getting a little bit of flour incorporated here. I'm just going to put probably like a teaspoon of olive oil in this too. And now, we just kind of slowly get little bits of flour incorporated in. I always say keep the walls high. Don't be afraid to hit the ground underneath. I think that's better than having a spillage over the edge. Spillage over the edge is where it gets dicey until this comes together enough that it's not going to like wander off of the table. So you can see we're sort of starting to come together in like a more thicker consistency. So now I'm not so worried about it running away. Now, this is my bench scraper. At this point, I start to work way more of the flour in. We're done with our fork. She has done her work. Now, you may also have been thinking, if you've been paying attention, I said I was going to work basil into the dough. And you're like, girl, there's no basil in there. That is a fact. That is indeed a fact. Okay? And that's because we are going to try to keep the leaves whole. I want it to be very pretty. So we're going to put them in when we sheet the pasta dough. Not now. And I'll be sure to show you that process when we get there. But for now, we're just making plain, classic dough. Should I have put an apron on for this? Probably. It's way too late for that. You'll know. Don't worry, you'll know. But then you're going to reach a point where you're going to just start getting some elbow grease in there. You know, I really knew I was going to regret wearing a flowy shirt because you're not supposed to wear them when you cook. I'm well aware of that. But this top's just so cute. It's just so cute. And it's so nice outside. I wanted to wear it. I am kind of regretting it, but it's fine. As long as it's not a fire hazard. My dough does feel significantly dry. So I might just add the tiniest touch of water to it, just through my hands. Then I'm not pouring water into it. This just helps incorporate some extra water into the dough. The other reason we need it to be just like ever, you don't want it wet, right? But we need to make sure it's not dry because we want the dough to get really smooth. So once this is looking like a good texture here, so now we're in a really good place to work the pasta till it's really smooth. You probably didn't hear it, but my elbow cracked. This is where you're going to get your calories in for the day. Eating it, and then you're going to burn it through making it. So it's like reverse. That's fun. I always say, like when I first started getting into bread and pasta making, I think my biggest gripe used to be that it took so much time, but you can taste the labor of love. You know? It's sweet. Very therapeutic sometimes, if you have the time to do it. Does this make my arms look strong? Tell me yes. Just for my ego purposes, please. You see how it's still kind of cracking here a little bit? It's still so dry. I am going to add a little more water to it. The dough has just really been sucking the water up off my hands, which is good and bad. Oh yeah, that looks so much better. Okay. Now we'll just work it till it's smooth again. Oh yeah. You see that? That's my little pasta ball. She's beautiful. Okay. I'm going to wrap it in saran wrap. You know, the other day I was listening to a podcast where the dad of the guy who killed someone, his dad was one of the people who invented saran wrap. Something to think about. Pasta, after you wrap it, put it in the fridge 2 hours, okay? I think you can get away with 1, but it's got to sit for a hot minute, okay? In the fridge. We're going to let her cook, and then we're going to get started on this cake, okay? Always clean up your workstation. Okay, let's start this cake. We're going to start. Make sure rack is centered, and we're preheating 350. Doing this in a loaf pan. Look, my mother got me this bundt pan. I've never had a bundt pan, but it's silicone. Isn't it cute? I don't know who makes this, but I've never had a bundt pan. I like to make monkey bread for brunch. If you've never had monkey bread or don't know what it is, I will insert a photo of it here so you can learn. It's delicious, and it's so easy to make, and you're supposed to make it in a bundt pan. Well, I've never had a bundt pan, and so the couple times that I have made it, I have made makeshift bundt pans, and it never goes well. So this was a great gift. It says we're going to just prep the pan. We're going to it says to grease it with olive oil. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. So we're going to get her nice and oiled up because we don't like a pan that sticks. Nothing will ruin a bake like that. Can you believe 2 videos in a row I have now baked something, and I am not like a baking type person, guys. I'm honing in on my skills. I'm gonna be so good at this. Watch out, Cupcake Wars. I'm coming for you. Well, it said to put parchment paper in, but that's how much I have left. And I'm not gonna lie, I completely did that to myself. So we will be adding that to the grocery list, and we will be hoping and praying for the best with this. Just so you can like lift it out. We'll see. Okay, dry ingredients, wet ingredients. So we need some bowls. 2 cups flour. Oh, this is in grams, mama. You know what we're breaking out. If there is ever a opportunity to measure things out in grams, I always take it. It's just so much easier to me. Like, I can use up every last bit of flour in this bag and it doesn't matter. So much easier in my opinion. New boy. This is the scariest thing to me. Why do they always have flour all over the place? 240 grams. Yeah. That's exact. You can't see it, but that's exact. Baking soda, baking powder, salt. Does anyone else's cabinet like eternally smell like garlic powder? I love it. That feels like too much. So I'm stopping there. Even though it only says 3. My scale feels like it's acting weird. And then these I will do half teaspoon of each of baking powder and baking soda. If you've never seen these before, these are my measuring spoons. They are in quite a tragic state. My oven's preheated. I'm going to double read this. Yes, it is a half teaspoon of each. 2 teaspoons of salt seems like a lot, Mal. I don't know. It does. It just seems like a lot. I definitely didn't put 2 teaspoons in. I'll just do another hoopla for her. Okay. Dry ingredients. Done. Now, let's do some wet ones. For everything tonight, I have 3.5 lemons and some spare lemon juice. Is that enough? I have no idea. So we're starting by grating a bunch of lemon zest into here. I'm going to do 2 lemons because it says to do, if it was grapefruit, it says to do 1.5 grapefruits, and I think that will be somewhat equivalent. I don't think grapefruit is as strong of a flavor as lemon is, so that's another reason why, even though these are pretty small lemons, I feel like this is the move. And don't forget to get all the goods off the back. Now, it says to add in 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, or 300 grams. So this is where I'm also going to work in the basil. So what I'm going to do is first add in the sugar. I'm going to let that like zero. My scale, I feel like, is a little funky. Nailed it. Wow, I'm doing great today. Now it says to use your fingers to massage the lemon zest in to the sugar. Get all the, well, it says grapefruit, but this is what I'm doing. This is Clark's table, okay? And then we are going to do the same thing with some basil. So we're going to take some of this, and we don't want no stems. Be specific about the leaves. We have no room for stems in here tonight, Mama. I'm going to say we're going to do about a tablespoon for the whole cake of finely chopped basil. So we're going to pull off some leaves. This is my favorite trick for cutting herbs. You take them like this. You're going to roll them. Ignore the sugar that's like spewing off onto them. You're going to roll them into like a little cigar. And then you can start chopping from there. It gives you a very even, good starting point for the herbs. I've always loved that little trick. And then we're just going to make sure this is really fine, because no one would want to bite into this and get like a huge chunk of basil. We just kind of want it to melt into the background. And again, this is kind of like a background flavor. I do think this is a little too much here. Just for measurement's sake, I'm going to measure out a tablespoon. We're just going to pop that in. The rest I'm going to keep on the cutting board. We'll use it for another part of our dish tonight, so don't worry. Then we are just going to do the same thing. We're going to take the basil, mix it into the sugar, and massage it in really well. We're going to release those oils, and we're going to make this almost like, it feels like sugar scrub, you know? Oh my god, it smells so good. Okay, now into this we are going to add 3 eggs, a cup of olive oil, and a half cup of Greek yogurt. I have what I would consider mild to moderate dyslexia, and so I'm going to read that it's a half cup of yogurt 40 times before I put this in here. Just a me thing. Now let's get everything nice and whisked up together. Now don't sue me. I am going to use the leftovers of this lemon juice in a thing that I have. It's still not even the full, it's more than what we need for this. But I have it because I made a big batch of lemonade for a group, and this would be like 9 bags of lemons. And when you're making big batch fresh lemonade, it was just what we had to do at the time. We're going to not be wasteful. It says we're going to combine these until they are just mixed. So no over mixing your olive oil cake. Okay? We're going to get in here, mix her together. No further. I'm just trying to scrape everything with a whisk real quick, but I'm thinking that's good. No over mixing, says Molly Baz. Pour the batter into prepared loaf pan. It says place baking sheet on lower rack of your oven to catch any potential drippage. Ugh. Okay. She's going in. I'm gonna get a spatula. Can I do this without? No! I thought I had it. Sorry, team. Molly said pan underneath. We're doing pan underneath. I always thought that this affected how the heat distributed in your oven, but I'm going to trust the process. And then you're going to bake. It says for 65 to 85 minutes. There is an hour and a half left on our pasta timer, which is 90 minutes. So we should be right in that sweet spot that this should come out. It will cool while the pasta's being made. We'll eat the pasta, and then you just top it with a little glaze, if you will, little lemon glaze. So we'll mix that up before it comes out. It's just lemon juice, powdered sugar. That's it. And we'll let it cool, put that on, and it should be ready by the time we're done eating the pasta. So I will see you back here when we are sheeting some pasta dough. So there's like 30 minutes till our cake's done. It did overflow, as you saw. I don't know. I don't know why they wanted it to do that, but it did. So while these are finishing up, we need to make our ravioli filling, and we need to pick out some basil leaves. I want to pick out pretty whole leaves that we are going to press into the pasta dough when we roll it out. So let's get those done. I'm just going to get out a little plastic plate. We can start with this. I think they're all sort of going to be like this, where they have some type of curve to them. I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about like dark spots, or if they're going to be like egregiously large, because the goal then is to also press out raviolis with nice basil leaves on them. Let's get a look in. Like this one is too dark. I want like fresh green beauties. Like that one might be too big, but the likelihood that we find a bunch that are the same size, perfect, that's slim pickings. Maybe we could press these. I have a second plate like this. They are plastic, so they probably are a little bit warped. Not gonna lie. But it could be a good start. That way these don't kind of roll edges. Oh, that one's good. That one's good. What's it like to be God's favorite basil leaf? Okay, let's start there. Let's see if this would work. If I put a weight on that, are y'all gonna lay flat? Oh, you know what would work really well for this. Okay. We'll let that sit for a hot minute. And then let's work on our filling. It's super easy. We're kind of doing a classic cheese filling. And I'm going to start with ricotta. I'm actually going to make it in this container because you can see it's probably a like third of the way full. That's pretty much exactly how much I need. And I'll just make it in there so I'm not making another dish. Now the only real... Let's get you back under control a little bit, friend. Okay. Now, because this is going to have a pesto, what's the word? Because it's going to have a pesto sauce, I don't really feel the need to incorporate a lot of basil into the mixture, so I'm not actually going to put any at all. I really want the mixture to be nice and mild and tangy. So we are going to do some Parmesan cheese, no mozzarella. We're going to add in some lemon, and that's pretty much it. We're going to let all the rest of the flavor come from the sauce. And I am going to cut one of the lemons and use the juice from this. And we are going to zest the other lemon and put that in as well. I want some strong tang in this mixture. And I know that this lemon juice is going to make it watery. So we're going to add Parmesan cheese till it firms up more, so that way it's not oozing everywhere in our raviolis. Okay. This should firm it up just enough. And then we'll just put it back in the fridge. Yeah, that's a much better consistency, way less watery. Now we're just going to add in our lemon zest. And then It doesn't need salt. It's salty enough from the Parmesan cheese. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. And then our filling is done. That's so good. Whoa. Holy cow. That's so good. Wow. I love making food. And we have a cute little lid to put on it now. I wish you could try this filling. It's so good. This is going back in the fridge till we need it to infuse even more. I know that only took like a hot second, but let's see if this did anything. They seem a little flatter. I think that helped. I'm going to keep doing that. I think we're going to need like double that amount, honestly. So I'm going to let those sit. The pasta should be done in like 30 minutes. The cake should be done in like 10-ish, depending on if it needs longer. So while that's finishing up, I'm going to do this maybe twice. I'll let this one finish, and then I'll do it again. And then we should have enough flattened basil leaves to lay out in the pasta sheets. Yeah. Well, I feel like she kind of got burned. But this is kind of going to come off. I was not expecting her to overflow. Look at this overflow. Mama turd. Turd. Gorgeous. She is kind of sinking. Can you see that? She's kind of sinking over here for some reason. I don't know. Can you hear that? Trust the process, everyone. I'm going to let it cool in here just for a hot second, and then we'll kind of clean this off and see where we go from there, honestly. We got to think about this one. You need to see this. I know you can't fully see this, but you need to see this. Look. This is like the spillage. You can fully pick up this cake turd. It's crazy. These little rock balls. I'm gonna throw it in the trash because it smells bad. That's her though. Well, our pasta is almost ready. Cake's out. These are really nice and flat. Here's the method to my madness. Spoiler, there is none. Whether you're asking if this is necessary, the answer is unfortunately yes. I do feel it's a resounding yes. You know, sometimes when I'm cooking, I think about this quote. I remember hearing it while watching an episode of Chef's Table, but I don't remember which chef said it. But they were talking about how, like, when you first start out at like a Michelin star restaurant, you do really tedious tasks, like something like this, where you would be going through basil plants and finding leaves and picking them off, and it has to be perfect, right? And it seems so tedious. And the chef said, why is this so important? It's because when that dish is put in front of the customer, they see everything we all do. They see every detail. And I think that is so true with like how we show up for life in so many things, right? When we put ourselves out there, and if you show up in your best version, everyone can see the good, the bad, and the ugly about you. And you have to be proud and okay and accept all of that. because all of it's fully in your control. A little dinner thought for you. Let's get out our pasta. I was like, why is the counter warm? But it's from me putting that on it. Oh yeah, this is a really good texture. I'm feeling positive. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for now, you would not believe how much pasta this will make. Like, loads. And keeps in the fridge for like 2 days. I would recommend 2 days. But what we're going to do is just going to get out this little ball. I'm going to cut it in half again. Because if you roll these really thin, you are going to notice, if you don't cut a small enough ball, it's going to roll out to infinity and beyond, mama. Okay? So, what we are going to do is, especially because I want to work these into the pasta. I don't want them to be on top. I want them to be in it, and when we roll it flat enough, you should be able to see them. Should is the key word here. Have I ever done this before? No. This is my pasta maker, pasta sheeter. She's got a crank handle. This is how we're going to crank it. She's locked on over here. And then these are the different settings, and you'll see a little bit. When I move this, it moves the blades further and further apart from each other. So my goal is, I'm going to cut this in half again. We're going to start with a little piece of dough, right? And we're just going to start rolling it out. Getting it started is always the hardest part. Now it only goes uphill from here. So each time you roll it through, you move these closer and closer together. So what I'm going to do is, so we're going to keep rolling this out till it's pretty thin, but then we're going to take these two and combine them together, right? So this one I took to a 6. We're going to leave it at that. This one, now we have to go back to 1, and then we are going to get this one down the whole way to the last one of a 9. So that way we can put them together and then re-roll them as a cohesive unit with the basil leaves in between. That's the method. That's the idea. That is what we will do. 2 pasta sheets. Let's lay these all over, because it's gonna spread out even more, right? Don't be shy. And I'm gonna have them all going in the same direction. I think that'll be a nice homogeneous moment. Okay. Then we are just going to place these 2 down. And I know it's not fully covering all of them. That's fine. We are just going to go with it, okay? So now we're going to take our new sheet and we're going to go, this is another reason why I wanted them all to go in one direction, so that we could roll it through the opposite way. Oh, she went a little sideways. Honestly, not bad. That's where we're at right now. Okay. Let's keep going. I don't know why mine kind of always ends up going a little crooked on me. This is going very well. Dare I say I'm thrilled? And that's our final setting. She's very thin. She's gorgeous. Wow, that worked exactly how I wanted to. We can see the leaves and they're loose, but they're not crazy. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Okay. So this is going to be our top piece of pasta. For the bottom, we don't want so much big honks of basil, so we're just going to do classic piece on the bottom. You know, maybe this is why Italian people are embarrassed when you use the pasta machines. Because this feels kind of ghetto. I'm not going to lie. And this is our second plain finished sheet. You can see how you can like see my fingers through it. It's nice and thin. And now we have two matching beautiful pieces of pasta. I am going to move this out of the way. And while we fill these, I'm going to start boiling the water so that way once we're finished with them, we can pop them right in the water to boil. And don't forget to salt it. This is my favorite sea salt that I like to use to salt my pasta water. I don't really use it for anything else other than that, but I keep buying it. I don't know. I just really like it for this. Here's what we're going to need. We have our 2 pieces of pasta. I have our filling. I have a little spatula just in case they get stuck to the countertop. I have a tablespoon for the filling, but I don't think this is going to be as much as we put in every single one of them. And then I'm going to use one of these little metal like condiment holders for circles to press and cut out the raviolis so they're nice and uniform. This is also, if you kind of press it lightly, you'll make a little indent and then you know where to put the filling, right? So because this is our bottom one, you see how now I can see, you might not, oh, well, let me do it down here. You can see maybe a little bit where I make an indent. This way I know how many we'll be able to get out of a single sheet of pasta. So now that we have our guideline, we can take our filling that we made that's been sitting for a little while. Now we are going to take our other sheet and we are just going to make sure we are locked in around those edges. And I always like to kind of press in where the filling is, because now we can't see our marks, right? So we're just kind of eyeballing the situation. Take your time, find where you think you did it. I'm going to press mainly to seal it. And then I'm just going to take a knife go around. Now I can take this, get underneath of it, and there's one. Cute. I'm just going to give it another little press around the edges with this just to make sure it's nice and sealed, because seepage is not our friend. Now we're just going to repeat that a bunch until we have a whole giant thing of raviolis ready to go. Don't they look cool?
Yeah, they look like baseballs.
They look like baseballs.
Well, that one does look like a baseball.
Alrighty. That's our first round done. I'm going to repeat this again. And while I do that, I am going to get these cooked in the water. And then I'm just going to finish them in some pesto sauce. And I will see you after that. I'm just finishing up the second set. Whoa! Sorry. Second set of raviolis. But our water is boiling away. So I'm going to start putting a few that are already done in there. Clear up some space. I think they look so pretty. And while that's happening, this is the pesto I like to use. It is so delicious from Costco. Comes in a big jar. I go through it pretty regularly. So if I don't use when I use it, I don't use a ton. So you kind of have to be using it a lot, in my opinion, to make a big one like that worthwhile. It's worthwhile to me. Okay, let's pop some of these bad boys in. Those are a boiling. I'm just going to take some of our pesto. I'm going to put it in the pan over here. And we're just going to heat it up. And then finish the raviolis in the sauce before we put them on the plate. Our raviolis are boiling away. We need to deal with this bad boy. I did trim off some of the excess, around the top that kind of got stuck. It did also kind of cave in the middle. Don't love that for us. But I figure if I take our little spatula, maybe she'll give way. Well, she did on one side. Oh, I don't think it came out as one whole piece. Oh no.
Oh no.
Spiraling, everybody. Spiraling. Oh no, it did. It just felt weird. Okay. Is it the most beautiful thing I've ever seen? No. But we'll work with it. She's just got to get topped with the glaze. And next I'm going to show you how we're going to make our drinks that go with our pasta. Easy. We're almost done here. And then we get to try it all. Wonderful. These drinks are also incredibly easy. We're going to start by filling both of our glasses with ice. Now, a Hugo Spritz traditionally has mint in it, but we're swapping it out for a little basil tonight. What you're going to need is elderflower liqueur if you're making a alcoholic cocktail. Here's everything you will need for the alcoholic cocktail. You're going to do an ounce of elderflower liqueur. I'm using Saint Germain. And traditionally these don't have lemon juice in them, but because of tonight's theme, we are adding a little, just a smidgen. This is not a traditional Hugo Spritz. This is a Clark take on a Hugo Spritz. So we have elderflower liqueur, lemon juice. Now we are going to fill with Prosecco, almost to the top. We are going to take some basil leaves, and I'm going to put some in, and then I'll garnish with some too. But you definitely want to put some in the drink and mix them around. Don't muddle them though, because basil leaves are much more soft and they'll kind of fall apart. Won't be beautiful like we want it to be. I'm going to use a straw, but you could use a spoon. We're just going to get that nice and mixed in there. And then you just top it off with some club soda. Super easy. A great little spritz for the summertime. I'm going to pop a little lemon slice on there. I'm not going to leave the straw in. That's not aesthetically pleasing. Now, if you wanted to do a non-alcoholic version, obviously no Prosecco, no elderflower. The way we would balance and get that elderflower flavor is Trader Joe's makes these lemon elderflower sodas. They are so delicious. You can just pop one of these in. I'm going to add some fresh lemon juice to the top just to get that nice freshness. Same thing, we're going to mix in our basil. She's looking sparse here. I was going to garnish with her, but I don't have any really left on a stick, you know what I'm saying? Get that nice and mixed in there. And same thing. We have our mocktail and cocktail version of our same drink, same flavor profile, but for whoever's coming to the party, whatever you're looking for that night. So good. We made it. Cake, ravioli, drinks. So good. Okay. Are you ready to try these raviolis?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. I think they turned out beautiful. I like that you just kind of get this like little tinge of the green from the basil. You're like, what is that? Like, it's almost like you get a little peek to what's in store.
I like the lemon. You really
I
got
was
the
going to
lemon.
say, you can still taste the lemon flavor over the basil, which is
And you
really
still got the basil, yeah.
which is really what I wanted. And the basil in the pasta, you can't even like, it's not like you're eating a big leaf. It kind of like melted into the pasta almost.
There's no different texture between the pasta and the leaf. I like it.
I like it too. Dang, this hits. We both agreed it smells like oil.
But not like burnt oil. It smells like it's been a good fry.
We're happily skeptical, okay?
Ooh,
Okay.
It looks good on the inside.
The inside is pretty, yeah. It looks like pound cake.
Yeah. Alright. We go for the edge or
I'm
we go
gonna
middle?
go middle. Like, I feel like the edge is
Ooh.
gonna be deceiving.
I'll go middle first and then I'll go edge.
The texture's really good.
I can definitely tell there's lemon in there.
Eat the top.
That's good.
Yeah. The top is good. It's a little herbaceous. I think I may have put too much basil in.
I don't know. I kind of like it.
I like it too, but I feel like I'm questioning how I'm feeling about it. I've never had anything like this.
Neither have I.
But everything has the flavor.
Yeah.
Basil and lemon comes in everything.
Yeah. Oh no, this one's hard.
Well, that's like a crispy corner.
Mm.
You got a crispy corner there.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Hello. We ate all the food already because we filmed this once and then all the equipment died. But everything is good.
Yeah.
And everything tastes like lemon and basil. And that's all we have to say right now because everything is dying. And there's only one microphone left. So thank y'all so much for watching. And we will see you at the table next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.